This is the Little Moments Count radio podcast, created in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. Each episode, you'll hear interviews with early childhood experts on how to support the important brain development that takes place in the first 1,000 days of life, just through little moments every day. Learn more at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.
FM 89.9 KMOJ. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Walter Q. Bear Banks Jr. got you on the afternoon drive. No question about it. And ladies and gentlemen, right about now, I got none other than Mr. Andre Dukes on the line, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about Little Moments Count and letting you know that Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focusing on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of a young one's life. Now, letting you know that nearly 80% of brain growth happens in the first 1,000 days of a small person's moment when it comes with interaction of talking, playing, reading, singing, the list goes on when it comes to that path of that brain and making it work. And if you like more information, you can always lock in to littlemomentscount.org. And this afternoon, I got none other than Mr. Andre Dukes. I'd like to say good early afternoon to you, sir, and how you feeling?
Good afternoon, Q Bear. I am blessed, and I refuse to be stressed. I'm just feeling good today.
No doubt. For the listening audience, give them just a little bit about yourself because you work in a lot of different spaces and a lot of different areas, and I know I'm bound to miss something, so I want you to let them know so that they know.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been on the North Side serving the people of the North Side for over 20 years now. I'm assistant pastor at Shiloh Temple International Ministries, and of course, we've done a lot to really reach out and provide resources to the community and to, stand in the gap through times of trouble and crises and all of the things, but also to celebrate the great things that happen on the North Side. And so I've been fortunate to be a part of those great celebrations for the past 20 years. I also work for the Northside Achievement Zone, which is really working alongside children and families to ensure that children are developmentally and academically prepared for college and life success. We're also really focusing on wealth-building strategies, making sure that children have college savings accounts and youth opportunity grants, which are really monies that are set aside for them once they graduate college to begin to build wealth. And so it's really about changing the economic mobility of our community beginning early. And so I've been very fortunate to do that, as well as teaching at the University of Minnesota. My background is in early childhood, infant mental health. And so really just teaching other students that are getting into the field of how to do infant observations. And really that's going into the home for a full year of a family in that first full year of that child's life to really look at, the interactions and the environment that contribute to their development. It's a wonderful journey that students go on, and we get to learn a lot about not only the baby, but the family and ourselves. And so I've been doing that for about 4 years as well.
Well, I want to also say hats off to you because last time we was together was at Shiloh, and it was for the Juneteenth celebration. And I just want to say hats off because handling that microphone and dealing with a lot of youngsters and youth all together, all at the same time, and the parents, and you took straight control and you made it all happen as well as a host of others. So I want to say hats off to you for that as well.
Thank you, sir. It's a lot of fun.
Now, when it comes to dealing with youngsters and youth, and we're talking about from the age of 5 and under, we can actually go 3 and under. Can you give us a little bit about when it comes to the kindergarten readiness program? Because a lot of times when they talk about getting ready and prepared, they always talk about the A's, B's, and the C's, and the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s. But give us just a little bit of insight of what it looks like.
Yes, sir. So we emphasize the first 1,000 days, and we know that, 80% of the brain development across the lifespan happens in the first 1,000 days. So it presents the greatest opportunity for us to wire our children's brains for success. And so when we think about, the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, those help with the academics. but literally we can wire children's brains for success through every interaction that we have. And so just talking, reading, singing, and playing with our children are really helping to build brain pathways that will contribute to their ability to, have good social interactions, to have good self-esteem, and not just the cognitive pieces around, the literacy and the language and all of those things, but social and emotionally, we are really helping our children if we are attentive and responsive to their needs in that first 1,000 days.
So now when it comes to parents and caregivers and some things that they should do, what are some of the things that you would say or you would present to them to say these are some of the things you might want to work on and as a daily thing in order for that young person to grow?
Yeah, and like I just said, I think it is talking, reading, singing, and playing. And so when we do the talking, we really want to be as diverse in the amount of words that we use. Children need to have at least about a 2,500-word vocabulary by the time they reach kindergarten. And so that requires that they hear about 45,000 words. And so the more descriptive that we can be in terms of like, oh, there's a car. Well, what color is that car? What kind of car is it? Like using as many descriptive words as we can to build that vocabulary is important. And then, really talking to them directly is really how you aid in their language development. A lot of times, we say, well, go and do, some work on the iPad and, do your ABCs on the iPad. But there's something about that one-to-one serve and return is what we call it, that interaction with a parent or a caregiver that really helps to build those brain development. And then singing is so important, right, because it really sparks their attention when you are using different tones, when, there's a melody to the way you are communicating with a child. So singing is really helpful there. And then I'll just say playing, like we really undervalue the importance of playing with our children, having those moments where, we don't necessarily even need toys, but being creative, building things, making things, being the toy. And so I love when my grandchildren jump on my head and I can have them on my back and running around. That's better than taking them to the amusement park when I can just be in my living room and playing with my children, having fun. Children, they are really learning when they are having fun. And so when we can have fun with them, we're really setting them up for success long-term in life.
And one of the other things is when we talk about the line of success, how important is it to show them that four-letter word of love? And the reason why I say that four-letter word is because sometimes we take it for granted, but then sometimes that peace and quietness and that emotional factor that a caregiver or a parent can give to their child from a quiet perspective compared to the screaming and yelling perspective and the pros and cons to that. Talk to me.
Yeah, I think that, love is an action word, and children know the difference. They know the difference when you are, addressing them with agitation or frustration. They are really good at picking up on emotions, right? Because we are all emotional beings. And so sometimes it's not even what you say, as my mother used to tell me, it's how you say it. Well, guess what? That applies to children as well. And so when we talk to them in a tone that is loving, comforting, encouraging, then they trust us. And then we begin to build a bonding relationship and connection with them. And I always tell people that there is no correction without connection. We have to connect with our children first, and then we can instruct them on the things that we want to do. And when they make a mistake, it is not our job to blame them or shame them. We have to connect them, let them know it's okay to make a mistake. You are still valuable. You're still important. And so that's the connection piece. And so there is no correction without connection. We connect before and after the interaction to make sure that they know they are loved.
And so when it comes to you and one that's listening right now who would like to get more in contact with you or more informed about that you do, is there a number, is there a website, or how can someone get in contact with you yourself?
You can get in contact with me by going to our website at the Northside Achievement Zone.org, or they can contact me directly at 612-594-8360. Again, 612-594-8360. Or they can hit me up at my email. It's adukes@the-naz.org. Andre Duke or adukes at the-naz.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Andre Dukes, and if by chance I missed a question or two, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just think that, as a community, we really got to love on our babies. With all that has happened in our community in the last, 5-10 years, the best thing that we can do is be kind and to love on our babies.
No doubt, no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mr. Andre Dukes, and you can lock into him and also about the show itself when it comes to Little Moments Count at littlemomentscount.org/podcast. It's FM 89.9 KMOJ.
Thanks for listening to the Little Moments Count radio podcast in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. You can find the Little Moments Count radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.